Yeah, and it carries on. It's tragic. It's tragic. Let me be absolutely clear. The policies of the Federal Reserve, the banking system, and the U.S. government elected representatives, right? And we can have discussions about our election system at some point, are conspiring to ruin the lives of young people. And any culture that treats its sick, that treats its young, that treats its next generation with the level of sheer contempt that has been levied upon them by the money keepers of the system, it's beyond description. It's horrifying. It's evil. It's not good. Okay, those are to put some judgments on it. But it's just a process, and I'm here to, we'll cast judgment on it later. I just want to make sure that we're very clear on the process. Inflation isn't some mysterious thing that arises out of the miasma of some swamp we've never seen before, and we don't know what it is. It's an act of policy. The Fed has already told us that they want this woman to experience 2% inflation, which means any savings she might put in a coffee can in her backyard will lose half its value every 35 years. Now, who granted the Federal Reserve the right to say, you know what? We as an organization are going to tax you half your savings every 35 years. Now, if they get it a little wrong and it's 5% inflation, that's taxing half your savings every 14 years. Who gave them that right? Nobody, obviously, but this is where we are. This is the system, and you need to understand that system so that you can begin to navigate it and make the most out of your future. Because if you don't see it coming, you don't know what's happening, you just get crushed. And that's what's happened to this lady here. Now, editorially, I guess while I'm on editorializing, for these reasons right here, you'd think that progressives would be all over this issue, the issue of inflation, but they're almost perfectly silent on the matter. Either because it's too complicated for them to understand, which is possible, unlikely, or it's because inflation benefits the existing political and corporate power structures, and that's where their true allegiances lie. I think it's probably that. In other words, when you hear a progressive prattle on about caring about the disadvantaged or the poor, while ignoring inflation or talking about the banks or the Federal Reserve, you are free to classify them as either ignorant or duplicitous. Okay. Irritatingly, or increasingly infuriatingly, the U.S. government Department of Labor Statistics, or the BLS, putting the L, the lie in the BLS, they gaslight us each month with their supposed inflation measurement reported as the CPI. Now, for a variety of reasons, ranging from wanting to minimize Social Security cost of living adjustments or COLAs, to helping hide political leadership's inability to govern properly, the government is strongly incentivized to lie about the true rate of inflation. Now, remember, if you show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. The BLS is incentivized to lie about inflation. The outcome is we get lies about inflation. Here's the latest from December of 2024. I mean, each month it's a new set of inflation whoppers from the BLS, who is supposed to faithfully and accurately track these things. But these fictions right here then get presented to us by a very unquestioning, very compliant mainstream media as if this were gospel itself. Oh, look, inflation was only up 2.9% year over year, according to the BLS. But anybody with any real world experience at all can immediately tell you that these are lies. And these lies must be approaching some sort of escape velocity by now, we hope. Because really, highlighted in green, food is up 2.5% year over year. Food at home, 1.8%. Really? Seriously. With a straight face, the BLS is telling us that groceries are up 1.8% over the past year. Because that's what the food at home means. Groceries up 1.8%. Now, anybody who does the shopping knows that this is a complete crock, right? In restaurants are up 3.6%. I'm going to have to bring this BLS table down to our local eatery and ask them why fish and chips for two with a non-alcoholic drink for each is $70 now when last year it was $50, because that doesn't feel 3.6%-y to me. Or maybe the BLS would like to help us try and negotiate with Carl Jr.'s to get the cost of 2 burgers and fries back down to something a little more affordable than $35.68. When did a couple of burgers and fries cost more than $35? And let's not forget that shrinkflation is part of this story too. We note that a Big Mac went from 50 cents to $8 and lost 40% of its size along the way from 1980 to 2024. So I think they never account for shrinkflation appropriately either in the BLS methods.